Hi, this is Guy Fratelloni. Uh, I'd like to talk to you tonight since I don't have any kind of Halloween material. I might have a book on witchcraft or whatever for D&D around, but I'd rather go through the old monster manual and talk to you tonight about some special undead, especially in the old game. And of course, I've got something at the very end that might pique your interest. But for right now, we're going to go over the old monster manual, and you might learn a thing or two, or you might have something to say about how I run my games. Maybe you don't like what I'm doing, but it's worked for me all these years. So, actually, I should have the second edition out because I'm not going to be 100% sure about certain things, and I always use that as a reference. So yeah, there's the D's. They have demons, they've got devils, but mainly I want to talk to you about the regular undead. Let's see here. I don't know if I passed anything yet. I hope not. The artwork obviously is not as good as the newer edition, but this game has served me well all these great many years. Alright, we're in the G's. So, we can start with, where the hell are they? Jeez. Oh, here we go. We can start with the Ghast and the Ghoul. They're actually a lot tougher than they appear to be. Mainly because just getting scratched by one of these could mean the death of a character. And what I mean to say by that is that any hit from these creatures usually causes paralyzation, except in the case of elves. Excluding elves, yep. And it doesn't say length of time. The paralyzation should last. But I've always said it's lasted about 20 minutes. And unfortunately for these characters, sometimes that's all it takes for these characters to be already begun to be eaten. In other words, eaten alive. It doesn't usually happen, but when these creatures encounter some low-level characters, this can be the result. So you want to use these in just moderate numbers, 4, 6, maybe even only 1. It can really mess up a party, especially if a party has a bunch of bad rolls or fumbles. The improved version of this is the Ghast, which is usually a leader of these creatures. And they have a little bit more hit points. And they also give off a horrible stench, as well as the effect of paralyzation, just like the Ghoul, which makes them even more difficult. So anyway, again, use these in moderation. They are tough. They're good when you mix these creatures in with zombies or skeletons. I mean, they're not fooling really anybody, but the skeletons and zombies will be turned first, and these creatures will be left to fight if that is the case. On the same page, you've got ghosts. Ghosts are a little bit more difficult to run. They've got either armor class 0 or 8. If they're in their ghostly version of themselves, in other words, you can see them but you cannot strike them with normal weapons, they are armor class 0. Otherwise, if they do solidify themselves and attack, they are armor class 8. So anyway, they've got the power of Magic Jar. which you might want to look up that spell. Otherwise, all that means is that they will dominate another character and then make themselves either invisible or almost incredibly hard to hit. And they will take that person and attack your teammates to destroy them. Oh, I just want to say one thing. And some of you are definitely going to disagree with this. So ghouls get 3 attacks. And what I like to do is, because saving throws can sometimes also finish off a party, you, like, say a fighter is going up against 2 or 3 of these things, almost sure to get struck. You want to give them, no matter how many times is hit, you want, of course, take off the damage for each hit. But what I do is I only have characters make 1 saving throw versus any effect per round. I'm not making them have like 5 or 6 saving throws versus the same effect. You might think that's wrong, but that's how I've done it. And a lot of times they still get into trouble and killed. The next thing we have here is the Banshee Groaning Spirit. I've always liked the artwork for this. And this creature is really, really dangerous because it can scream once a day. And when that happens, within a certain distance, I think it's 30 feet indoors, 30 yards outdoors, characters, let's see. Yeah, any level have to make a saving throw versus death or perish. Golly, there's some really tough creatures in here. So let's see. We're going to continue on. Okay, the Lich. So, the Lich is something that I think I've only created several over the years for high-level characters. Something like this, you're only going to find once in a great while. And they're usually magic user or magic user clerics. And these creatures usually surround themselves with other undead or things that can aid them. You're never going to see one of these things try to go hand-to-hand with a fighter. That would be dumb. So, yeah, you want to make some either trapdoors or secret doors that these creatures can gain easy entry to. After all, they are super... Well, you can't see it. Super geniuses. And so they're smart enough to know to hide. They're smart enough to know that they might have to attack from on high or in places where the party can't get at them. They're not stupid. And either way, the chances of the party of getting at these things and killing one should be slim and none. You know, it would rather leave its treasure behind or set off a trap where it knows that the party will get hurt and it'll give it an opportunity to get away. One of the most famous liches of all, of course, is Vecna. Vecna is practically, or is a demigod, and he's got some of the powers of a demigod. Here's something here which covers Vecna's powers and his manifestation. In other words, it's basically his current avatar. In this book, it shows you what his weakened state is, and it also shows you what he becomes if he gets his magic hand and eye back. He becomes quite powerful. 70% magic resistance, which is really good. Unless, of course, he's going up against adventurers that are around 19th, 20th level. But liches should be used only rarely in the game. There's probably not too many. One of the Dragon magazines I had, I think it was the best of, had how exactly to go about making yourself a lich. But I've never used that. Although one of my players would definitely want to do that someday. But how would you like working your wizard up to about 15th level? Put together this concoction that may work. Drink it, die, and maybe not come back at all as the lich. The next one on our list is the mummy. You've got to remember that he has a fear effect, and you've got to remember to use certain powers that this creature has. Excuse me. Also, I just would like to say that the mummy's wounding even affects paladins and some other creatures that are normally not affected by such diseases. So that's something to keep in mind. One of the classes might be monk. I think the monk would even be affected by that, because not only is it a disease, it's a magic disease. Okay. He's also very powerful. But again, if you have just one or two against a party, the mummy is tolerable, though they'll be injured for quite a while. Let's see. We're getting down the list here. We're in S. There should be Spectre. Oh, here we go. Spectre. Spectres are tough. Undead. They're non-corporeal, which means that they can go through walls, furniture, and anything else, as long as probably it's not more than 10, 20 feet thick. And, of course, you have to kind of judge for yourself whether the Spectre knows the area or not. If he doesn't know that there's a room beyond that rock wall, he's probably not going to vanish into it. But they can do that. They can hide behind the recesses of walls and then come out and attack the party. A lot of these creatures have energy drain, and in the first edition, there is no recourse. There is no saving throw. Once you're touched, you lose levels. You go down to the next lowest level, or in this case, some of the undead will take you down 2 levels, which sucks, because it takes months to build up those levels again. Okay, what do we got next? We have... there should be 1 or 2 more. Oh, I think I missed... No, here we go. Vampire. So the vampires are one of the most mightiest dead in the game. And even evil clerics who turn them to try to control them have a tough time keeping them under control, because of their levels, because of their charisma, and because of their intelligence. The smarter the undead, the less likely a cleric is able to control them. Usually clerics only are able to control skeletons, mummies, and perhaps ghouls, because they're not very intelligent. But a lot of the other undead are, you've got to read that section in the Dungeon Master's Guide and figure that out for yourself. So the vampire, some of the myths and everything they've kept, some they haven't. This guy has incredible strength, and he drains 2 levels at a time. Modules like White Plume Mountain have a vampire in it, and they're difficult to deal with. If you can somehow bribe the vampire, or maybe give it something it wants, I don't know what that might be, but there you go. Okay, weights. Weights or white, they're kind of in a class by themselves. You can use either silver or magic weapons to hit them. They drain levels. So the party's probably going to come across these first when it comes to things that drain levels. And you might say something like, the creature is dark, foreboding, and its hands might glow or have like energy dripping off of them. And this, of course, would be negative energy because when they touch, they drain life levels. They drain one at a time. But again, players aren't going to be happy that something touched them and that they're going to have to work extra harder to catch back up with the rest of the group. Will-o-wisps, they're considered undead. They're considered tough undead. But if your party does come across them, know that if the party defeats this creature, there's going to be treasure nearby. Usually in the form of a dead body with magic items on it, or something shoved in a log, or just under the water in a chest. Who knows? Either way, you fight one or two of these things, there should be some good treasure there. Okay, we're getting down to the nasty nitty-gritty here. Here's the Wraith. The Wraith, again, is non-corporeal. It's a creature of darkness. Oh, by the way, I missed Shadows. That's okay. Shadows are, again, a lesser undead. They drain strength. And in the presence of light, they can be chased away. But we're covering the Wraith right now. Again, the Wraith is powerful. They energy drain. One life level per hit. In Unearthed Arcana, they do have a spell that allows you a saving throw, I believe, or maybe you automatically ignore the undead draining ability of the undead. Can't remember the name of it, but it's worth looking into. It's, I think, a second level spell, and you definitely want something like that protecting you. At least maybe it gets rid of the first hit so you won't lose a level, and you got to finish off these creatures fast. Most fighters will not even quibble if they just go at these things with a magic sword and the wizard is forced to cast lightning bolt or fireball, knowing that their fighters might actually receive damage as well. It's just better to get rid of these things right away, even if it means losing an entire day of adventuring, just healing from the shocking effect of either the lightning bolt or getting burnt to a crisp by a fireball. Here's the lowly zombie. They can move ahead, or if they tie on initiative with the party, they can move at the same time, but they always attack last in combat. That's one thing that any DM should remember. But they do 1 to 8 points of damage. They're nothing really to laugh at. And they're good for setting off traps. Like if the cleric in your party is maybe a neutral or an evil cleric, he's going to want to control them instead of just destroying them. And when this happens, he can use them for his own personal servants. Although, if he loses control, say in the party sleeping, that's on him. Well, that's all I got to say. It's Halloween. Have a great Halloween, and good night.